Hi, welcome everyone to our May Business Monday. I can't believe it's May already. I'm grateful though because the weather has been beautiful. So, all right, let me start sharing my little slides. All right. So I believe most of you know who I am. I am Amy Zelmer. I'm editor-in-chief of Midwest Yoga and Life magazine and also the owner of Yoga Teacher Conf. And if you haven't seen it yet, this is our spring summer issue, the Harmony issue. You can pick that up at any of our partner locations, or obviously you can also get a print subscription on the website if you'd like it delivered directly to your mailbox. Save the date. Our upcoming Iowa conference is October 26th in West Des Moines. And we do have our teacher and vendor applications open right now. So if you're interested at all in being a speaker at the conference, I'll drop that in the chat here in just a minute if you are interested in applying to speak. We have a master class coming up this Thursday, the 9th at 6 p.m. Central. Kim Chesney is going to be talking about how to unlock your quantum intelligence and your intuition. I'll also drop that link in the comment or in the chat in just a bit. If you would like to get registered for that, a recording will go out to everyone who's registered. If you don't know anything about Kim, she is amazing. You're gonna love her. And I just love her energy and how she talks about quantum intelligence. So I think you guys will really enjoy it. We have a fall self-care retreat here in the Twin Cities area, October 5th. It's a half day of intentional movement and intentional stillness. We have our $75 early bird price. You can go to midwestyogalife.com/retreat to get registered for that and to see the full schedule. I believe most of you have probably seen our email that our partner rates are going to have to go up. We're gonna increase those next month. Printing costs have just really gone up, and we have no choice but to raise our annual partner rates, which I really tossed around really hard with the team if we wanted to raise them or not. But the reality is we have to cover the cost of the magazine. So those will be going up by each level goes up by about $50. So if you get locked in before the end of the month, you will stay at the current rates. And same with renewals if any of you are up for a renewal. And just a reminder, if you haven't already subscribed on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts, be sure you're listening to Creating Wellness from Within. We have had some really fantastic guests. It's not just yoga specific, it's all health and wellness. So if you haven't tuned in, be sure to check it out. We have about 100 and some podcasts episodes up already. So there's sure to be something for everyone to listen to. And our upcoming Business Mondays next month, we have Rebecca Sebastian. She'll be talking about professional development. July, I'll be talking about integrating Instagram. August, we'll have Maria Brecky, who is a lawyer. She'll be talking about the legal side of business. And then in September, we have Elena Bergen from the Offering Tree, and she'll be talking about organic growth with SEO. All right, so today we have Lizzie Prindle here, and she is from B Yogi Insurance, and she's going to be talking about the importance of business insurance. So super important topic. Let me get back to my screen here. Let me bring Lizzie in. All right, welcome, Lizzie. So Lizzie is the marketing director for Be Yogi Insurance. And we're going to be talking just about how important it is to have business insurance, even if you're just an independent yoga teacher, if you own a studio or any other health and wellness business. Um, so, welcome, Lizzie. I'll let you give a little more intro on who you are, and then let me know when you're ready to put the I'll put the slideshow up for you.
Yeah. Thanks, Amy, and thanks for having Biogi today. I'm really excited to chat with you all. As you know, it's being recorded, so you can, take a watch later on as well, and we'll share the slides with you. And amazing how much you guys have going on with Midwest Yoga and Life. So really cool to hear all of that, and really excited to be here. So as Amy said, I am the director of marketing at Yogi. And what can I say? I love this company not only for its really great individual liability insurance policy, but it's been a mission of mine to focus on education, because at the end of the day, you only purchase insurance once a day or once a year. So if we can offer that education and support throughout the year, in addition to that insurance coverage and peace of mind, um, that's our goal. I've been practicing yoga for about 7 or 8 years. So it's definitely not as long as some of you, I bet. But it's something I'm extremely passionate about. And so when I talk about the education side of Biyogi, we're working with yoga teachers and other wellness professionals to write our content, to be a guest host on our webinar and things like that. So I get just as much joy from this education we publish as I hope other yoga teachers and other professionals do. I'm based in Florida, so if anyone is in Florida, hello. But if we can go ahead and get started, let's do it, Amy. And just a heads up, I had some Zoom issues this morning, so I can't share my screen. Amy is sharing my screen for me. So we're working through a Google Doc, and we'll be seeing it through that way. And so if any confusion there, someone can jump up and say, hey, we're not on the right slide. But classic virtual issues, right? In this digital age we live in. Okay, so like I mentioned, Biyogi is mainly for yoga teachers. Our base is for yoga teachers. So it is from the lens of that standpoint, but Biyogi covers wellness practitioners, Reiki practitioners, massage therapists, even within the beauty space, about 500 plus modalities we cover all in one policy. So that to say is we cover, and this information is for basically all wellness professions, but it is through the lens of Biyogi because that's what we do. And today we're going to be talking about, what is business insurance, what is liability insurance, why you need it, the importance of it, and what are the things you need to think about to choose the right one to fit your needs. I do want to preface, Biyogi is for the individual practitioner. We are going to go over what a business owner's policy is and what a BOP is compared to a general and professional liability policy is. But the key there is it's important to have general and professional liability insurance coverage, even if you are a business owner, because that covers your business. But for an individual, we're talking about liability insurance. We can go on to the next slide. I kind of already gave my little promo of who I am. But a few little things. I was actually also a collegiate swimmer, and I transitioned to becoming a yogi, and that's why I've loved this community mind-body aspect of yoga. So it's just an additional piece of why I love Biyogi so much. And we are taking questions. So if anyone on this call has any questions, or if you have any follow-up questions for me, I'm not an insurance agent, so I can only answer so much, but we do have a whole team of US-based customer service representatives that can answer any sort of questions that come along. So I'll keep an eye on the chat to see if there's any questions I can answer, but I wanted to quickly mention that. And we can jump into it. All right, so today, like I said, through the lens of yoga insurance, think about it, wellness professional liability insurance. What does it cover? What is it? What does yoga insurance cover? So the who, what, when, why, where, that type of thing. Why do you need it? What's the importance of it? How to choose the right policy. And we'll talk about BOB specifically at the end. And my goal to talk to you guys today is just provide you with enough information to help you get to the next step, whether that's purchasing a policy or doing your own continued research. My goal is not to sell you on BYOGI. Of course, I'd love you to choose BYOGI, but this is an educational piece, and I want you to be able to have at least a good base understanding of what you need to do next. You can go on to the next slide. So that first question is, what is liability insurance? What is yoga insurance? I Googled this question to see what was out there. And for specifically yoga insurance, it's also, you can say yoga teacher insurance, liability insurance, yoga instructor insurance. All of those names mean the same thing. It's a liability. So this is professional and general liability insurance. A business owner's policy will include this and some other things we'll go over, but we're specifically talking about the liability piece in this presentation. So it protects yoga instructors, Reiki practitioners, other wellness professionals from the risks associated with their services. So some of these risks that a liability policy would cover would be bodily injury, allergic reactions, say you're using essential oils or a cleaning supply, someone has a reaction, and then libel and slander. And we can go on to the next slide. So like I've talked about this professional and general liability insurance, the common names are malpractice insurance. So if there is some negligent instruction or someone's not even understanding what you're saying and they get hurt, that is a professional liability claim or that process. And then general liability covers those slip and falls. So someone hurts themselves in a hot yoga class, or someone sprains their ankle walking through a studio, going to sit down on the massage table, things like that. And then other things to look for in the policy when it comes to liability insurance is identity theft coverage. This is such a big thing in today's day and age because more things are virtual. So you need to make sure you're covered there as well. And if you put yourself out there more, there is more risk. And then rental damage coverage and stolen equipment. Not every liability insurance policy has that. I would definitely consider if that is in your needs and things like that. But those are some other things to look for. We can go on to the next one. Alrighty, so here is the difference of a BOP policy, so the business owner's policy, and an individual liability insurance policy. Like I mentioned, just want to be clear, BYOGI is your individual liability insurance policy. We are owned by Gallagher Insurance, which is the 4th largest brokerage in the nation. I know we are an international company, so I think it's international. So we do have options for BOP policies, and if you want to specifically talk about that, I would going to recommend connecting you with our small business team, and we can handle that process. But a BOP policy is a policy package with a general liability insurance policy, and then you also have your commercial property and your business income and coverage. So it's a more expensive policy that's specifically for your business. It doesn't cover all of your employees if that's the route you go with studio. And this is, like I said, for studio owners, it's for your online business owners, things like that. Now, the individual liability insurance policy is just the general liability piece of this. Like I said, it's a less coverage, obviously. And then this is for your independent contractors. If you are an employee of a studio, if you don't own a business, but you only teach online, that is definitely going to be the one you want to choose. And it covers costs like we talked about, the slip and falls, the malpractice, and the libel and slander. We can keep going. Real quick, does anyone have any questions? I just want to give a second. No? Okay, we'll keep going. All right, so we talked about a few of who it could potentially cover, but just really want to talk about what this liability insurance policy is, who it's for, and who it was designed for. So simply, it covers whoever purchases the policy, obviously, but you're thinking independent contractors, your self-employed yoga teachers, if you're 100% online, a full-time yoga teacher that doesn't own a studio, you just, that's your main source of income. It also covers part-time yoga teachers. So if you do have a full-time job and you teach yoga on the side, part-time, as your extra income, your passion project, that's someone who would need liability insurance as well. Teacher trainers. So beyond just yoga teachers in training, your beauty professionals in training, you work with people, right? You're doing classes with other yoga teachers, teaching other yoga teachers in your training. So we recommend purchasing a liability insurance policy because you never know what's going to happen. And we'll talk about the you never know in a second. But Byogi offers a $60 policy, which is great because there's a lot less risk when you're a teacher trainer. However, like I said, you never know. There's accidents that happen. And with Byogi, you can get a cheaper policy and have that same peace of mind. And then, little note, if you're on here, you're probably interested in learning about insurance. So that's probably why you are here. So we can go on to the next slide. So the importance here's why you need either yoga insurance, wellness professional liability insurance, financial protection. And what that means is if someone were to try to sue you due to they had to go to the hospital after your class or something along those lines, liability insurance would cover your legal fees, your medical bills, those associated costs, if they deem that, it's true that you had to file a claim and all of that. And at the end of the day, I'm going to use Byogi's price as an example. $179 policy is way better than $5,000 down the line, covering the legal fees, covering the medical bills. So that's one aspect. And that's honestly one of the most important reasons why we get yoga insurance or liability insurance. Credibility. Let me go up. Peace of mind. The idea is if you've ever witnessed someone fall or you've heard a horror story of someone having an accident, they trip and fall, they hurt themselves. It's quite scary, and you can start thinking about it with each class or each service you are providing. And it's your job as a yoga teacher. I'm going to just say yoga teacher. I know potentially you guys are other services and professions, but I'm going to just go with the yoga teacher because that's what I do. Your job as a yoga teacher is to make people safe. And at the end of the day, you can't watch 30 people in class at every second. So it's important to make sure that you have liability insurance to be able to protect yourself for the accidents and the instances that you cannot control. With no matter how much experience you have, there are things that fall out of your control, and insurance is that peace of mind. Credibility. This is kind of a concept, but if you're looking for a contractor, if you're looking for someone, to put money into, service and reputation and credibility matter. So when purchasing insurance, you're telling the world, I care about my job and I take my job very seriously as an individual. And it's important to carry that over into these wellness professions as well, because someone could, hurt themselves and then you'd be out of luck. So credibility is a piece of this. And the last one is if you teach at a studio that says they have coverage and maybe doesn't require it, there is a limit to general and professional liability in the BOP policy and your policy. So oftentimes you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So oftentimes something happens and there's not enough of that limit left to fully protect you. So that's one of the key things is even if it's not required, to look out for yourself as a yoga teacher and to protect your financial assets is important to have that liability insurance policy for the peace of mind. We can go on to the next one. And then what we're now going to talk about is how to choose policy. So here are the things you should look out for when purchasing. And these are the things that I've seen in my profession when I'm looking at everyone else's coverages and policies, and even just hearing from other yoga teachers about, why they chose a specific insurance. Here are the things what I think you guys should, take note on. Are the services that you provide covered? So with the BOP policy, obviously you want to think about is your entire business service, is your entire offerings covered. Some companies out there make you pay for add-ons. So for example, Biyogi, you purchase a policy and 500 modalities are covered within that one policy. A lot of the time, these other companies out there make you pay like an additional fee or make you specifically choose what options to a limit that you are covered for. So be mindful of that when you're searching. Coverage limits. So specifically professional and general liability limits. How much do you really need? What if it's not required? What do I look at? So Biyogi, we chose our limits, which is 2 million per occurrence and 3 million annually. We looked at it from our underwriters did this research, and they looked at what do yoga teachers need? What are their services? How often do claims come in? So there was research behind what limits we chose. And from a student policy to a 2-year, everyone gets the same limit options for Biyogi specifically. There are companies out there, though, that will let you choose between 500,000 and 4 million. So it's confusing from that aspect, in my opinion, when you're not an insurance agent and you're not quite sure. So making sure whether if it's your studio that's requiring a specific amount, just know that amount, know what you feel comfortable with, and just keep a lookout on what offerings are out there when it comes to limits. Customer service is also another big one. I think we can all relate to purchasing car insurance, home insurance, things like that. So it's important to know if you're going to have a good experience when talking to someone and calling in. And there have been my personal experience talking to an insurance agent when I don't feel like I got the right answers. So call in to a few different companies when you're trying it out. Ask some questions, see how it goes. We'll talk about reviews in a second, but reviews are a great also way to tell if people's experiences are something that you would like to also have. Process of purchasing. So a lot of insurance companies out there make you fill out a quote, which is normal in the insurance industry. But there are situations when it's frustrating. You get through the whole quote and you don't see your price until the end. So you have to be mindful of the time it takes for each quote for Biyogi. We are all about transparency, so you'll know the cost and you'll know your coverage limits and what you're covered for all in one page. So that's something that I really love about Biyogi. But yes, process of purchasing. How long is it going to take? If you're taking multiple quotes with different companies, now they have your emails. And so they're going to continue to call and email you. So just think about that. Also, a lot of, especially in the yoga industry, a lot of companies require you to have liability waivers. So if that's not something you actively do to each one of your customers, that's something you'll want to consider either adding. Byogi does not require it, but we do recommend it. But it is difficult if you're posting videos on YouTube and you can't get a liability waiver with everyone. Something also to think about. And then other companies, are there requirements of you having to tell them if you're teaching at a different workshop or if you're teaching at a conference? So those are the things I would ask customer service while you're in that research phase. Next slide. Okay, so continuing on this, how to choose. Like I said, reviews, but don't just go to their site. Go to third-party sites like Trustpilot, Google reviews, and read those. See how people's experiences are with that company. Occurrence form versus claims made. This is specifically towards the professional and general liability insurance. So occurrence form means any claim filed, basically the end of the day, the idea is not all insurance policies are made equal. So an occurrence form policy, any claim filed after the policy expires will still be covered as long as the incident took place while the policy was active. So it's the idea essentially that you're covered after expiration. And claims made is any claim filed after the policy expires, you're not covered. So no matter what, if you don't have a policy and someone, you've been teaching for 20 years and someone randomly files a claim or sues you, thanks Candace, bye, sues you, you're not covered with a claims made. What other benefits are they offering? Discounts, things like that. And the final cost, are there fees? How much does an additional insured cost? Extra coverages, add-ons. Just take a look at that cost before you go on to choosing one. We can go on to the next slide. These are some resources that Byogi offers, and this is helpful for professional and general liability. We have a comparison guide with all of the main ones in the yoga industry. And there's a yoga insurance guide that also makes a lot of sense for wellness practitioners in general. Or wellness professionals in general. So definitely take a look at those. Next. And then just to quickly mention Byogi, with the Midwest Yoga and Life magazine, we have a discounted membership. So it's $169 a year. That's a $10 discount. And here are the rates. We talked about the 2 million and 3 million. But in addition to within that professional and general liability coverage, the libel slander comes from the personal injury and advertising coverage, which is 2 million. We include an identity protection plan, which is great in this day and age, like I've mentioned, to have that peace of mind when you're teaching online. Or occurrence form coverage, we can offer a free website, member benefits, the whole deal. So if you want to look into us further, just check us out at byogi.com and MNYL. We'll send this presentation out so you guys can just copy and paste that. I think Amy put it in the chat as well, so you can take a look there. Or call us if you have specific questions about your services that you offer, feel free. And then really quick, last slide. I'm not going to go into these. We have some great reviews. One of them says we're a beautiful company or something like that. Validation, am I right? So if anyone has any questions, happy to answer them about professional and general liability insurance. If we have follow-up questions, we can also send them to our customer service reps. We can definitely get those answered for you guys. But I hope that was helpful for anyone looking for insurance. You're muted, Amy.
Dang it. So thank you, Lizzie. I appreciate you being here. And if anyone does have any questions, you can pop them in the chat or unmute yourself. Lizzie would be more than happy to answer any of these questions. And I did put the link in the chat I'll also include it with the recording. But you, like she said, you get $10 off if you use that specific link with the MNYL at the end. And I've been using Byogi since I was a student. Because when you're a student, you get the student price. And then I've just continued with Byogi. And then of course I also have my general liability insurance for my business as well. I think it's important to reiterate how when you mentioned that even so if you work at a studio, whether you're an employee or an independent contractor, either way, you really need to have your own insurance to cover your own ass in case something were to happen. Because you just never know. Something could happen with that studio owner's insurance, something could lapse. There's just so many variables. So having your own to protect you as well is just really important.
Yeah. Thanks, Amy. Yeah, you said it. Protect your own ass. It's extremely important in this day and age we live in with lawsuits, being a thing. So insurance covers you for that. And yeah, so we're happy to offer any other education as needed, Amy. And thanks for having Byogi on again. We're really excited to have been able to connect with your community.
Yeah, yeah. And I've been getting lots of requests for these types of topics. And they're so important. And whether you're a business owner or just an independent teacher, um, insurance is like one of the top things you need to get right away.
Mhm.
Um,
It's
anyone,
on the checklist.
yeah. Are there any questions?
Really quick, wanted to also shout out again, if someone is looking for a business owner's policy, we do have connections within Gallagher Small Business. So if anyone has any questions about that too, feel free to send them to Amy as well, and we can get that sorted for you.
Yeah, wonderful. All right. Well, Lizzie, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And if you have any ideas on topics you'd like to hear in an upcoming Business Monday, let me know. I've been getting some really great ideas from you guys. So just shoot me an email. Let me know what you would like me, if there's someone in particular or a topic in particular you'd like me to find someone to talk about. I'm happy to try and find that. Ashley said lots to think about. Thanks for a great presentation. All right. So thank you everyone for being here. I'll see you all again next month. And again, thank you, Lizzie, for your time.
Of course. Have a great one, everyone. Bye.
Bye.